Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. Welcome back to Quick Capsule Review. My name's Tom. Today I wanted to talk about some militaristic films in honor of our Independence Day. And we're going to start with a little-known film called Full Metal Jacket. Not really little-known. Maybe little-known by today's standards. I don't know, other than the Arleigh Ermey memes, who all has really watched this film. I know I tried recently and it glitched out halfway through, but I will recreate the second half from memory enough to do a quick capsule review, maybe not an in-depth review. I do know that at the start of the pandemic, I shaved my head because I thought, back in 2020, around February or whatever, I was like, I'm probably not going to want to see a barber in the next 5-6 months. And watching the opening shot of this film where Matthew Modine and Vincent D'Onofrio and the other leads are getting their heads shaved as they enter boot camp, I got really jealous for some reason. I was like, oh man, that looks good. So I went and got my Bic razor and shaved my head off. Not the whole head, just the hair part. This film is absolutely wonderful. Stanley Kubrick rarely fails to deliver. I don't vibe with all of his films, but this one really is wonderful. Mainly because of Arleigh Ermey. Arleigh Ermey was a real life drill instructor, of course, who did this film pretty much, like Roddy Piper and They Live, wrote his own dialogue, and it's just incredible. Although watching it this time around, so he's very abusive to, it's not really abusive. I mean, it's basic training. But it's still borderline abusive because he singles out and picks on Vincent D'Onofrio's character, Sergeant Pyle, who's just a fat fuck up and he can't really do anything. And I was stunned by one of the training scenes in this film. I'd never noticed it before, but there's a scene where Vincent D'Onofrio's character is trying to ascend a log obstacle, and he keeps sliding on it and falling into the mud, and he'll catch a grip on it and then roll over, and just knowing Kubrick's penchant for doing multiple takes of the same scene, he had to have taken just incredible physical abuse doing that one scene. It's just amazing. I mean, not to mention the scenes where he's marching along with his pants down by his ankles and stuff like that. Although he had a few scenes where all the other actors around him were doing push-ups while he got to eat donuts, so it had to have been a mixed bag filming that film. But Arleigh Ermey was the breakout star. He's a meme. I mean, he's a human meme. He did other films after this, but it was really a continuation for the most part of this character, particularly his ghost character in The Frighteners was almost exactly the same. You'll see him occasionally, I think he played a preacher in Leaving Las Vegas who turned down Elizabeth Shue, and he played the concerned father in Salton Sea with Val Kilmer. You see him once in a while, but this was his definitive role, and it was just incredible. There's never been a more legible rendition of a drill sergeant character in films. The latter half of this film, also gave us some memes, like the thing that they used to play on Opie and Anthony all the time. What was this, some kind of sick joke? Which was said by the guy who I think he played General Reichian in Empire Strikes Back. It gets a lot more into the sort of the incompetence of the Vietnam War. They encounter a sniper in the final sequence, who I think is played by the same girl that they meet in town. She just kicks their shit in, this whole squad or whole unit, I'm not sure, just absolutely destroys them. It takes all they've got to defeat this one foe. But again, my phone glitched out after the Arleigh Ermey scenes, so I didn't even get to the good part where Pyle shoots him in the bathroom. And I also wonder with Stanley Kubrick movies, like, does he even have to direct his actors to sort of like go slack jawed and stare like out of the top of their like I don't know, like there's some Stanley Kubrick look that all psychopaths in his movies share, from Jack Nicholson to Private Pile in this one. I think they just know what he wants. I don't even think he has to tell him to look a particular way. All right, moving on to Platoon. We have the lovely Willem Dafoe there doing the famous scene that really defined that piece of classical music, the Adagio or whatever it is. So Platoon was also by a very good filmmaker, Oliver Stone, who did serve in Vietnam. So this was based in part on his experiences. It involves Charlie Sheen and a very young Johnny Depp and a bunch of other young men fighting in the jungle alongside some dubious mentors. You've got Willem Dafoe on one side, who smokes pot with his men and kind of philosophizes with them and treats them fairly. And then on the other side you have Barnes, who is a nightmare, played by Tom Berenger, so effectively, in fact, that James Cameron cited Tom Berenger as sort of a touchstone for his portrayal of Sarah Connor in the second Terminator film. He actually, before he saw Linda Hamilton get jacked and give a really intense performance, he thought he was going to give her makeup like Tom Berenger's, like scars all over her face. But she delivered a really good performance, so he felt like that was unnecessary. This film, I don't know, it's got such a good cast. Like John C. McGinley's in there, Keith David. It's never been one of my favorites, but I do enjoy it every time. It's one of those things where I think if I was channel surfing, it would snag me and keep me. I watched it fairly recently, and nothing really stood out about it in terms of it looking dated or anything like that. I think it still stands up very well, and it's very operatic. They people who've worked with I think it was Kyle MacLachlan who had worked with both David Lynch and Oliver Stone, said that Lynch was very detail oriented and Oliver Stone was very big picture oriented, and you really get that sense in this film. Like it's operatic in scale, and got a lot of really good intense performances and a very satisfying conclusion too. So finally we have Starship Troopers by the great Paul Verhoeven. This film has fielded a lot of bizarre criticism over the years, that it's fascist. I think largely because you have Doogie Howser in a kind of a SS officer type jacket and hat. Like, I think it's really the clothes more than anything. I mean, you're dealing with a society that is run by the military. At one point, the sort of profligacy and errors of the earlier society got so bad that the military had to take action and intervene, and the veterans rebuilt the society to be militaristic, to the sense that only people who served could vote, so they were citizens, and that was the price of citizenship. But if you look at the film, or I mean, you can just cut out the middleman and just go watch Sargon of Akkad, famed Applebee's waiter and internet philosopher, did a really interesting video about the legacy of Starship Troopers and how it isn't fascist in nature. You have people who, for one thing, have private ownership of their lives. They have the freedom to move about. They have a free press that actually covers negatively, the war that's going on. You have open debate on TV about whether bugs are sentient or not, and things like that would have been probably suppressed. So you have a lot of indicators that it is a free society. It's just a different kind of free society. But other than the sociological thing, you also have acting levels that are borderline Beverly Hills 90210, which is part of the charm of the film. Casper Van Dien is sort of a blank slate as Johnny Rico. Probably other than you'd have to go to like Mark Wahlberg in Planet of the Apes to get a more vanilla performance, and that's really tough to do. You also have some incredible actors like Michael Ironside, who's always good in everything. This is my second favorite Michael Ironside role, besides the kind of wisecracking arms dealer from the TV show V, which was just a embarrassment of riches, because you got like hours of Michael Ironside in one role. How great, by the way, was it that he was John Connor's commander in Terminator Salvation? That was just perfect casting. But he's always a treat. And then you have like Jake Busey, Gary Busey's son, as Johnny Rico's trusted confidant. And the great thing about Paul Verhoeven films is you never know if they're in on the joke. And they always also, I've started to think that they have a very heightened sense of emotion. When he's like, I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say, kill them all. That could have been played very much more subtly. But he likes to do that. I actually just watched Hollow Man, speaking of Elizabeth Shue and Paul Verhoeven, and and kind of got the same impression in that one too, that he likes to encourage his actors to play for the audience in the back row, even though it's a film. He wants the emotions on a certain level. And in terms of like the ethical nature of killing these bugs, imagine swatting a mosquito who bit your arm. Okay, now imagine that mosquito could, with its proboscis, move a meteor to strike your car. Is it any less moral to swat that mosquito? I don't think so. Even if it does have like a 600 IQ, you still swat it, and maybe you don't relish the fact that it's afraid, but you gotta protect humanity against the bugs. Whose side are you people on? Anyway, I hope everybody has an absolutely lovely barbecue, be it delicious meat or tofu burgers or whatever you're into. Enjoy the lovely weather, enjoy the lack of mask mandates across the country. Just get back to your normal lives and have a great, free breath of fresh air. And I hope everybody has also a wonderful weekend other than that. And we will see you soon. We've got some other stuff. The curtain falls. We've got some other stuff in the works coming up soon. Should have the premiere episode of Hollywood Upcycling. And that's very exciting. We've been a long time coming on that one. It's been, I think, well over a year since we did Hollywood Upcycling, and we're planning a couple other things. So watch the skies, because there will be more. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting Stormbreaker Films, liking, subscribing, hitting that bell, all that stuff. And you guys have a great day.